Welcome back to Golf Extra. Major championship golf is supposed to be difficult. After all, the bragging rights just wouldn't be worth as much if there was no challenge behind the undertaking, right? But in our list today, we're going to uncover the most challenging major championships that professional golf has ever seen. Believe us, some of these courses were downright miserable. But even still, somebody won each and every major on our list, and you better believe that they felt extra accomplished for doing so in some of golf's most brutal conditions. Stay tuned to find out who was able to hang tough and get the win, and who folded under the pressure. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this one. Now, let's get right into our list of the most difficult major championship tournaments of all time. Carnoustie Golf Links in Scotland comes with a bit of a preordained reputation. After all, there's a reason that golfers refer to the course as Carnasty. But at the 1999 edition of the Open, played at Carnoustie, the golf hit a different level of difficulty. After a period of dry weather, the course was dry, which made for very challenging and finicky putting surfaces, as well as unfavorably long rolls on a course where the ball placement is exceedingly important. The fairways are almost impossibly narrow, and if you can't keep your ball in the short grass, you're looking for trouble. Carnoustie always has deep bunkers, but in 1999, the groundskeepers had a little more mischief up their sleeves. They let the grass grow approximately knee-high and made it as thick as bramble bushes. To top it all off, the Oceanside course was slated to be thrashed by a vicious wind off of the North Sea, further adding to the challenge. All things being considered, even a professional golfer could be forgiven for feeling a bit intimidated. After the first round, no concerns had been eased. Not a single player had played the round under par. Australia's Rod Pampling sat atop the leaderboard at an even score, but everyone else had a very difficult day out on Carnastie. After day two, every golfer in the field was over par, with France's Jean Van de Velde now leading with a score of 1 over par. Golf greats like Tiger Woods and Greg Norman sat at a typically pedestrian score of 4 over par, but in this tournament, it had them tied for 4th place and well within striking distance. Jean Van de Velde widened his lead on day 3, showing incredible poise to gain a stroke back. Now shooting exactly at par for the tournament, Van de Velde led the rest of the field by 5 strokes going into the final round. But even this lead wasn't safe in the face of Carnoustie's unfathomable challenges. Scottish golfer Paul Lawrie, playing in his home country, made an incredible comeback. He at one point trailed by 10 strokes, but still came back to force a playoff. That is, with some help from Jean Van de Velde falling victim to Carnoustie. With the 3-stroke lead going into the final hole, Van de Velde looked to be the clear winner of the Claret Jug. However, after an errant drive and a misguided attempt to hit the green on his second shot with a 2-iron, Van de Velde found himself in that impenetrable Carnoustie rough. An attempt to clear the ball from the rough only got him in more trouble as he ended up in the Barry Burn, a small waterway draining to the ocean. Perhaps driven mad by Carnoustie, Van de Velde removed his shoes and climbed into the water, intending to shoot the ball out. While he eventually reconsidered and took a drop, the image of a flustered Van de Velde standing in the shallow ocean water of Carnoustie is an indelible image of the difficulties of the 1999 Open Championship. Van de Velde would go on to make a triple bogey, triggering an ugly 3-man playoff that was just as tough as the rest of the weekend. Lawrie ended up with the victory after a stellar 3rd round and some great shot making in the playoff, but his winning score of 6 over par just shows the difficulty that Carnoustie presented, both mentally and physically. The 1974 U.S. Open at Winged Foot was so difficult, it got its own nickname, the Massacre at Winged Foot. The notoriously difficult course was the site of what many considered to be a revenge tour by the USGA in response to the record-breaking low scoring of the 1973 U.S. Open, and boy, did they get that revenge. Winged Foot Golf Club in Westchester County, New York was the perfect place for the USGA to exact their revenge, as it featured perhaps the most infamous rough in the history of major golf. Even an excellent golfer like Johnny Miller described it as unheard of rough. It's never been seen before or since. The rough was 6 inches high or more and caused players literal pain to strike the ball out of. The greens were equally difficult to play on, with all-time great Jack Nicklaus putting a ball right off the green. Some lunatic even drove a car over one of the greens, and they were so firm that it didn't even leave a mark. The anecdotal evidence about the 1974 U.S. Open should already convince you of the abject difficulty of this tournament, but the scoring was incredibly poor as well due to the difficult conditions. No player ever turned in their scorecard and was under par for the tournament, and American golfer Hale Irwin fended off the field with a staggering 7 over par to win. and he even won by 2 strokes. In the end, all but 2 players in a field, including Miller, Nicklaus, Gary Player, and Arnold Palmer, finished with the 4-round score less than 10 over par. That's truly a massacre in our eyes. Winged Foot and its U.S. Open appearances really could have made the list another time as well, as in 2006 the tournament returned to Westchester County. While it may not have been a massacre this time, many of golf's best players still struggled mightily. Australia's Jeff Ogilvy got the victory, but his winning score of 5 over par betrayed the difficulty of the round. When the U.S. Open returned to Winged Foot in 2020, the players were understandably spooked by the thought of playing the infamous course. Justin Thomas even commented that the viewers at home are going to see some pretty bizarre stuff and probably a lot of putts and chips that make us look pretty bad. It wasn't quite that bad, as Bryson DeChambeau would take home a comfortable victory at 6 under par. But comments like that are evidence that the challenge of Winged Foot and the memory of the 1974 U.S. Open still weigh heavily on the minds of even the best golfers in the world. The previous 2 tournaments which we've covered on this list are mainly considered to be notably difficult because of the challenge presented by the 2 courses. In contrast, the 2008 Open Championship at Royal Birkdale was typified not just by a difficult course, but also by extremely challenging weather conditions. Royal Birkdale, located on the English coast north of Liverpool, has hosted the Open Championship a total of 10 times since 1954, with generally normal results. In 2008, however, the weather gods decided to make it especially difficult for the world's greatest players to earn the coveted claret jug. From the very outset, it was apparent to each and every golfer in the field that this was going to be a difficult tournament. On day 1 of the tournament, the Northern England wind was gusting at gale force and was accompanied by a cold, unseasonable rain. Englishman Paul Casey said of the round, "It was awful. I thought, how can we be playing in this? When is the horn going to blow?" It never happened. The wind and rain persisted in day 2, and at the end of the day, only South Korea's KJ Choi was under par for the tournament. With the scoring outlook already bleak, the Northern English weather only intensified, with the wind somehow becoming even stronger. Though 53-year-old veteran Greg Norman held the 54-hole lead with the score of 2 over par, he acknowledged the difficult conditions by saying, "It was ridiculously tough out there. I'd put it in the top 3 hardest rounds of golf I've ever played, under the circumstances. It was just brutal today." While the wind never truly died down, Patrick Harrington, countryman of nearby Ireland, found a way to cut through the gales on the 2008 Open's final day. With the searing back 9 that helped him to gain 4 shots back, Harrington blew away the rest of the field en route to a commanding victory, which gave him back-to-back Open Championship victories. Even still, Harrington's winning score was 3 over par. For context, that's below the cut line in many major tournaments to this day. Just goes to show you how truly difficult Royal Birkdale was in the swirling English winds of 2008. So, what do you think about our list of the toughest major championships of all time? Did we miss anything that you think was even more difficult? Be sure to leave us a comment with what you think down below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you can watch our latest content updates as soon as they drop. We'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.